Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Kentucky Innovation Hub's quarterly update. I'm Lisa Bajornis, Executive Director of our Innovation Hubs with KSTC, and we are, of course, joined in partnership with KY Innovation at the Cabinet for Economic Development to bring you this quarterly series. I'm going to give a quick rundown of our agenda today. First of all, we're going to start off with a State of Startups quarterly report to give a quick rundown of some of the accomplishments and successes throughout the state in this last quarter. And of course, I have a few announcements for you on behalf of the Cabinet to share with you. And then we'll get to the meat of it today, which is really what you're here for, the Innovation Hubs and their quarterly progress against their goals. And we'll close it out just about at 11 o'clock with a couple of announcements. Just so you know, if you ever want to go back to any one of our quarterly updates, or if you want to go back to any of our quarterly State of Startups Kentucky reports, those are on the KSTC website. You can go to kstc.com, click on our initiatives. You'll see Kentucky Innovation Hubs there. Just scroll down and you'll see the library of both our public updates as well as our State of Startups reports. And you're welcome to go back to any of those webinars that you'd like to review again. All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going to take a look at the past 3 months. We're showcasing the impact and the results of our Kentucky Innovation Hubs. And this is going to cover the period of our first quarter of our fiscal year. So this is July 1st to September 30th that we'll be reporting on. And across Kentucky, entrepreneurs can access absolutely vital resources through our 6 regional hubs. And that includes personalized startup coaching, access to capital, customer acquisition support, mentorship opportunities, talent connections, and strategic introductions and networking that all help to build community. And with this quarter's State of Startups report, I'd like to highlight some of the key entrepreneurial accomplishments and achievements from the past quarter. So we like to always start with the welcomes. And joining the SOAR Innovation team this month, we have Dana Barnett, who is their new Director of Entrepreneurship, and she and the team will be serving the Eastern Kentucky region. We're also celebrating the newly created venture capital firm that was started by Jackson Andrews. You'll remember him as the founding managing director of Endeavor Midwest. And Jackson is now launching New Ventures VC for Midwest tech companies. And really the role and purpose that they aim to accomplish is to fill that funding gap for Kentucky companies between angel investors and coastal VCs. vSimple is a company that connects workflows by bringing documents and tasks and approvals all together into a simple AI-powered platform. They're relocating to Louisville, and they plan to create over 200 jobs. So we welcome vSimple over to across the river to Kentucky. And Kaza Innovations is a research partner to companies that are commercializing science and technology, and they have recently relocated to Bowling Green. So welcome to those companies. There's a lot of congratulations in order, many accolades, many rankings on various important lists that we like to track. And so congratulations to the 30 Kentucky companies that were selected to this year's Inc. 5000 list based upon their 3-year revenue growth. And ranking in the top 500 were 3 consumer brands. At number 280, we had RD1 Spirits out of Lexington with over 1,300% growth. At number 372, we had Travelin' Tom's Coffee Truck out of Florence with over 1,000% in growth. And then in number 402, Wild Brands out of Winchester with almost 1,000%, 994% growth. So congratulations to those companies for making the Inc. 500. We had 2 early stage companies make the annual Business First Fast 50 list. This is typically established businesses. And we actually have two early stage companies that made the list this year. Cornbread Hemp out of Louisville at number 2. And then also we want to congratulate eBlue Solutions, also out of Louisville, at number 14 with their growth. Endeavor Southeast has announced that Teresa Reno Weber with Good Maps, Brad Cummings with EQL Games, and Jordan Mitchell with Encon Equipment have been selected as the newest Endeavor US entrepreneurs following Endeavor's national selection panel that was held in September in Detroit. That is quite an achievement, particularly for those early stage companies that we recognize as more so later stage based upon a lot of their growth, customer acquisition, revenue, etc. Congratulations to them. The Community Foundation of Louisville's Vote Awards selected their 2025 cohort. Each of them receives $25,000 in non-dilutive grant funding, an additional $25,000 safe note, and acceleration programming. Congratulations to Do-Gooder, Essential Innovations, Kidvestors, Nongo, Proper Pilots, and Revitalized Solutions. We're going to hear more about the Awesome Inc. Fellowship Program coming up, so I won't take that, but I do want to congratulate those companies that were just recently selected to that particular program as they get started. We had two Louisville companies each receive $1 million at the Rally Conference in Indianapolis. Congratulations to Ali Tretman with Wicked Technologies in the healthcare category, and to Akil Sureshner with Xena Intelligence in the e-commerce category. $1 million from the Rally Conference. Congratulations. And Hempwood, of course, we know them as having been voted the coolest things made in Kentucky, is opening a new factory in the Murray University campus. Hempwood uses patented technology to transform locally grown hemp fibers, bonds them together, and they make a new adhesive for a new innovative form of hardwood. We're excited for AirTrek Robotics and Nichefire, who've been selected among over 560 applications to showcase this year at Venture Atlanta's conference. And we do want to recognize founder Sean Rubel with Easy and Jeremy Jacobs with Undest. They were named to the Regional Technology Council's Hall of Fame in Bowling Green. And then we have many collaborations that are happening, and we have noticed an increased trend among this. You'll also hear about some exciting collaborations from our hubs, but we're excited for the collaborations of RePatient with Johnson & Johnson MedTech, Climavision and Virtual Peaker are collaborating together in the climate space. We have EQL Games, who is working together with Chance Lottery, and Feed Coyote has announced a new partnership with NVIDIA, and NVIDIA will be providing additional AI capabilities to their business network platform that supports freelancers and short-term gig founders. Let's move on to capital. There's a lot happening in terms of access to capital. The Innovation Hubs and I track investment activity in Kentucky startups, which means the number of startups that receive funding as well as the total amount that is invested in them. And since the start of this calendar year, so January 1st, Kentucky has had 58 startups that have been funded with over $166 million in those early stage companies. Just a couple of highlights to note: in the Amplify region, Virtual Peaker raised $11.3 million in venture funding in the form of a convertible debt from Veritin and other undisclosed investors. We had in the Blue North region, Narratize, that completed their funding round, bringing their total raise to $5 million. And then in the Create region, we had Undest, which raised $3 million in a seed round that was led by the Nashville Capital Network. And then just some very quick hub kudos. we'll hear about this again, but I just want to extend again my thanks to Dave Knox and the Blue North team with the grand opening and launch of Spark House. We'll hear more about that. I hope you all saw SOAR's own Latasha Friend in the Wall Street Journal for the Make My Move leadership that she provides, which is a talent attraction program for Eastern Kentucky. And congratulations also to Buddy Steen with Create, who was also announced as an inaugural member of the Regional Tech Council's Hall of Fame in Bowling Green. So that's what I've got for you, just a quick rundown of the quarterly state of startups that's happening in Kentucky. And just moving on, although David Brock could not be with us today, he is feeling a bit under the weather and unfortunately has some laryngitis. He did ask me to share with you just two quick comments or remarks. The Kentucky Small Business Tax Credit applications need to be received by your startup founders by the end of this week to be considered for the current tax year. So any early stage companies interested in applying for Kentucky's Small Business Tax Credit Program, you need to have your applications in by the end of this week. And then finally, the SBIR STTR matching funds round is closed. David reports that it was a very highly competitive round, and the next round will be open in the spring. So that's what I have for you from the cabinet. And as I mentioned in our agenda, we're going to quickly go around to each of our 6 innovation hubs. You see them there. So they'll be providing their quarterly updates for you. And here's a little bit about what we've asked of each hub to provide to you. They will recap a startup win from their region in the past quarter. They're also going to just highlight 3 of their 9 different metrics that we all measure against their 12-month goals that they had set. They'll give us an event highlight from the past quarter. And this time around, I've asked them to just give us a nice quick update about some collaboration that they are working on with any other of our innovation hubs in supporting our startup founders. So with that, we're going to jump right into it. We're going to kick it off in the Western region. We have Maggie Choate, who is program director with Sprocket, and they have 22 counties in their region. And I'm also happy to introduce Steve Reed, who is co-founder of WholeNote, who will be here as well. Go ahead, Maggie.
All right. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a good morning. We'll kick things off with our startup highlight. We've got, as Lisa already mentioned, Steve Reed. He's one of the co-founders of WholeNote. And they've just had a really, really exciting, honestly, month. Just this last month, they've been super duper busy, and I'll let him talk about it, but we're really excited for them. And yeah, Steve, you want to share?
Sure. Thanks, Maggie, and thank you, Lisa. And hello, everyone. It's been a really exciting few months for Got Your Back and our product, WholeNote. Early this month, we had an opportunity to join an investors cocktail event in Louisville at La La Land Recording Studios, hosted by Gil Holland, which brought together a great mix of creative entrepreneurs and investors from across the country. The conversations really helped us kickstart new relationships as we begin an angel fundraising phase. Just a few days later, we were honored to be one of 8 startups invited to kick off the Confluence Music Tech Conference in Charlotte, North Carolina, which brought together people from all across the country, artists, producers, tech founders, investors, representing every corner of the music industry. It was an incredible moment for us to share how WholeNote helps artists and creators manage their passion and the business side of their careers. Next up on November 5th will be one of 5 startups competing in Corey's annual Small Towns Big Ideas pitch competition on the campus of Dartmouth College in New Hampshire. Another great opportunity to tell our story and build visibility at the national level. On the fundraising front, we've officially kicked off our angel investment round after bootstrapping the development of our platform for the past 25 months. We're targeting $500,000, and in just the past few weeks, we've already raised 32% of that with commitments for an additional 20%. So we're off to a really strong start. Along those lines, we're working with Key Horse Capital and Invest Blue to establish an SPV, which will provide a structured path for investors to participate in our growth. Perhaps most importantly, we're now preparing a controlled launch by mid-November, featuring a cohort of artists who have already signed on as pre-subscribers. This will give us valuable feedback as we prepare for a broader rollout in early 2026. It's been a big quarter, lots of momentum, strong early investor interest, and a clear path towards scaling both our impact and our reach. Thanks for your support, and please feel free to reach out with any questions or connections. We're always excited to share what's next with UIB. Thank you, Maggie.
Thanks, Steve. And I'd like to note that I know I won't be able to travel to New Hampshire for this pitch competition, but they are hosting it virtually. And so I'm going to try and tune in for that. And if anybody wants to tune in for that, I know that they would really appreciate that with a little support from Kentucky. And then I'll talk about our metrics for Q1. We set our goals for this next fiscal year, and you can see that below. I really, really want to highlight our investment numbers for Q1 because being in rural Western Kentucky, our investment numbers tend to not be super duper high. But just for the first quarter, we've already had about $375,000 in founder raised capital. And what I find really, really cool about this is that it's diversified across multiple startups. Not one company is getting all the cash here. And although they're not large pools of money, everyone is getting a little bit. And so everyone's being able to slowly build their company. Like Steve mentioned, Whole Note's been raising a little bit, and Data Rovers, our next 50K company that moved here about a year ago now, he's been raising. And so we're really just excited about what everybody is doing here. Another metric I would like to talk about is new businesses created. Our annual goal is 10, and we've already hit 6 in the first quarter. I have no idea how that happened. Don't ask me. I don't have a clue other than it just happened. And so we're really excited about that. Really excited about people are just, they want to build companies here, and they're really excited about becoming entrepreneurs. And so, yeah, I really want to highlight that as well. And then lastly, the metric I want to talk about is our startups served. It is 62 startups served, meaning 62 startup meetings. And it's just been incredible seeing the growth in these companies because we're finally seeing, for a while, we had a lot of one-off meetings, intro meetings, things like that. But we're finally seeing founders just really find that cadence of meeting with our entrepreneurship coach, meeting with me, meeting with Monica. And in that, we're seeing company growth. So I really wanted to highlight that as well. Next, an initiative or an event that we had this past quarter is our Build What Works Lunch and Learn. This is the intro workshop, I like to say, for those who are interested in what our startup program looks like. And so in this Lunch and Learn, people came and they learned how to build a lean canvas. John walked them through that. They put their ideas into this lean canvas. And it was just really hands-on, and everyone was really energized after that. We run these about once a quarter, once every couple months, something like that. And I'm super excited. If you guys know anybody in the Hopkinsville region, let me know or invite them to this. You'll see it on our social pages, but we're hosting a kind of a grand opening in Hopkinsville. We're partnering with the Murray State Regional Campus over there. And sorry, this isn't a slide. This is just a add-on. But we're partnering with the Murray State Regional Campus over there to host a satellite Sprocket campus. And we're going to have a day where we have our coffee hour, we have a ribbon cutting hosted by the chamber there, and then also we'll do one of these lunch and learns for founders in Hopkinsville. So if you know anybody, that's on November 20th. If you know anybody in that region, send them our way. And yeah, we're really excited about that. And then lastly, our partnership initiative is with Invest Blue. Steve already mentioned them. But something that I know the cabinet has known about for a while is that we have been working really hard to establish an angel network here in Western Kentucky. Um, we have a lot of untapped high net worth individuals who are really interested in the startup ecosystem. They are interested in giving back to their communities. And so we've been in conversations, we've had meetings, lots of meetings on how we can do this. And so our first step into that is on November 14th. We are having a little private angel network group come together unofficially kind of with and we're going to have a startup present. We're going to have Prevent Scripts. Many of you probably have heard of Prevent Scripts. They were built here locally and they have been building here locally for many years now. And they will be presenting on their company and announcing an extension to their seed round that they're doing. And Invest Blue is helping them with that. And then they also will be sharing about what it means to form a syndicate and how to kind of officially bring together these people who really want to just give back to this entrepreneurial ecosystem. So we're so excited for that partnership. We're really, really excited for where that's going to go. And I know you guys will be hearing more about it in the future. And that's Sprocket.
Great. Thank you, Maggie. And it was wonderful to get to brainstorm and think through just the creation of an angel investor network in especially the Western region. So we appreciate your leadership there. We're going to move to the opposite side of the state in our Eastern region. And as I mentioned, we have our new Innovation Hub Director, Dana Barnett, with SOAR, and they represent 29 counties. And today with Dana is Dr. Greg Baker, founder of Toothshore, as well as Rico Day, who is their Chief Operations Officer. Hi, Dana.
Good morning. It's great to be here with you all today. I'm going to let Rico do most of the talking about their success, but it's been a pleasure to work with them. And it's great to see such a wonderful invention come out of Hazard, Kentucky. And so, Rico, would you like to tell them a little more?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Dana. So I work as the Chief Operating Officer for Toothshore, and since we began our journey with SOAR Innovation Network, we had a lot of pieces that were flying around. So we kind of SOAR helped us put all of that together. It helped us refine our business model when we worked with under the direct coaching or guidance of Rick West, and he has helped us gain a lot of traction with the local healthcare facilities. We recently received our FDA clearance, and we are moving forward to advanced discussions with other investor groups like Key Horse Capital, Appalachian Investors Alliance. And recently, we had the opportunity to participate in the Awesome Inc.'s 5 Across event, which was truly a great opportunity and a learning experience for us as to how to pitch a business model in the most effective way, especially when it's a complex medtech product. And having said all of that, I'm really grateful to SOAR and their guidance throughout our entire journey, and we hope to continue this in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Rico. And so now we'll talk about our Q1 metrics. First, I want to highlight that we have served 81 startups across these first 3 months. And each of these meetings are with people like Rico, where we are trying to target what is most needed and how we can get them to advance to the next stage of their process. And we like to work with our entrepreneur in residence and our team here at SOAR to make sure that they're getting the quality services and all the opportunities presented to them, and that they're most prepared to take and move forward with those opportunities. Additionally, we've hosted 8 events, and with that, 183 event attendees. And with those 8 events, a lot of those have been both virtual and in person. So combining that hybrid model to give access across a region that is very spread out in geographically. So we've hosted those events. And then I also want to highlight our startup investments. And though we did not have investments in our first quarter, we are working with teams like Toothsure in that startup serve to make strides to those investments. And we do have a lot of promising traction there that we hope to see the momentum grow from quarter one that leads into bigger and stronger connections and investments later this year. So more to come there. The event I'd like to highlight is our SOAR Summit 25. This is our signature event at SOAR, but with SOAR Innovation, we do bring founders together to this event with our Innovation Alley, where they are able to make connections, showcase their products and services, and get an audience that they might not get to be in front of otherwise. And then we also hosted wonderful panel discussions led by our entrepreneur in residence, Rick West, with some amazing founders and entrepreneurial support organizations throughout the state. And this is something that I would definitely encourage you, if you've never been to a SOAR Summit, get there in 2026. This is an annual event. And it's something that we want to invite everyone to. We talked about things like investment readiness, building a strong brand, and did a KY innovation update at our SOAR Summit this year. Great connections also with the Founders Dinner. And then I do want to just say, I am a new director of entrepreneurship at SOAR, and we have multiple initiatives, and we do open an invitation for collaboration across the state. We love when our founders like Rico and Motor Vision participate in things like Awesome Inc.'s 5 Across. And we also invite everyone across the state to take part in the events that we are having as well. So we do have our Startup Appalachia Accelerator, our Founders Fit Boot Camp, our legal clinics, and our Tech the Town event. And our Founders Fit Bootcamp and our legal clinics are recorded and virtual. So we see this as evergreen content that is applicable to startups across the state and the world. So we encourage you to share those out, push those, and as we also use content across the state to make sure that founders are getting access and that we're capitalizing on the time philanthropy of these wonderful entrepreneurial support organizations. Yeah,
Great.
that is
Thank you so
open
much.
invitation to collaboration. Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks, Dana, very much. It was my pleasure to facilitate a panel at your SOAR Summit and really to see the doubling down on supporting tech and tech-enabled founders and the enthusiasm coming from that audience that attended this year. Thank you. All righty, moving to the center of the state, representing our central region, we have Buddy Steen, who is program director with CREATE, and they, of course, represent 12 counties. Good morning, Buddy.
Good morning, Lisa. Hope you get to feeling better, David. I want to start out with Harnage IR. We've got a serial entrepreneur here. His name's John Harnage. He's been here for many, many years on premise here at the Innovation Campus. And he had exited one of his companies. And he just recently, this is what a lot of serial entrepreneurs do, they dive back in. So he started a brand new company called Harnage AR Services. It's about building, basically it's about scanning buildings and objects, and he uses IR technology. He's a subject matter expert in IR thermal imaging. And we're just proud of him. He's growing. I know his client list is growing every week. We talk to him, and so we're really proud of him. Let's move on to our metrics. Okay. I guess the three I would mention would be our new startups. We have 8 new startups here. This is a constant we have 280,000 square foot facility, and inside of here and outside throughout the region, there's just a lot of startup activity. 8 of them this past quarter. We do a lot of events, get a lot of attendees here, but I would like to mention the investment in startups. Lisa, you mentioned Jeremy and Undesk raised $3 million. Two of that $3 million hit in the last quarter, so I'm showing 2.2. Really, that's 4.4. we're well on our way to meeting our goal there, and we're happy. Hopefully, we'll blow that past that even. And then the new jobs. On premise, we counted up about 40 new jobs this past quarter. These are real jobs, real people, real talent around here. And 19 of those were actually within I would call our startup client, window. And so that's why we're showing there. And so those are those are real jobs, not projected. And we hope to have a lot of those new ones. Next slide. So collaboration and the whole networking thing is it's real important, right? And I'll give you an example. Okay. One of our monthly startup resources we do every month, startup type gardens and things like that. We learned about MI2, which is having a conference here in Lexington today. We learned about MI2 creating an innovation search, right? And in this innovation search, they were seeking out, new ideas for manufacturing companies and things like that. And we sent that out to all of our folks, and a third of the 50 of the applicants to that innovation search came out of our region. And one of the finalists happens to go back to John Harnage at Harnage IR. He has a group called Kentucky Thermal Institute, and he's a finalist in that. And so these things really have a way of kind of connecting and working together which is why we do events, which is why we do networking, and we leverage all that. I do have a small business summit that's coming up on November 6th. Jeremy Jacobs is going to be one of the speakers. He's like Lisa said, he's a Hall of Famer, serial entrepreneur, brilliant guy. He's going to give nuggets of wisdom, and just it's worth every minute that you could spend with him, learning the good, the ugly, and the bad, and so forth of startups. But there's also some lessons that he's going to talk about, and it's going to be really good. We've got another speaker. That's an all-day event. Starts at 8 a.m. November 6th. So everybody's welcome. It's free. We'll feed you at lunch. And then lastly, about collaboration, just to kind of double down on that, we created an ambassador program. We have so many people that are just natural ambassadors. We thought we're going to give them titles, and Jeremy Jacobs obviously is one. I'm one. Even though I'm programs director, we've got these ambassadors starting to form all over the region, and some of our ambassadors travel, Lisa, outside, like Khalil Garman. He's one of the most networking, probably forward-thinking, connecting persons we know. He's one of our ambassadors, and he was telling me that he routinely goes to Awesome Inc. and he routinely goes to Amplify, and he's been at Awesome Inc. Startup Weekend and the summer startup retreats and Amplify. I think he actually worked on Pitch Deck for some of the things that he was doing at MoneyBot. I know he worked with them on go-to-market strategy in Louisville because they're in Louisville, and so we appreciate all that. The investor network, like you mentioned, is pretty strong down in Nashville, and we're kind of building all that together. So lots of activity. We're really happy to be here, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks so much, buddy. Appreciate that. And certainly we look forward to your signature event coming up very quickly, November 6th, the Small Business Summit. Again, gathering all of your tech founders together for some great programming and content. All right, we're going to stick in the middle of the state here, and representing our Lexington region, we have Garrett Farbach, who is director with Awesome Inc. and representing 28 counties. Hi, Garrett.
Hello, Lisa. We can jump right on in. Yeah, so for the startup that we're going to be highlighting, it's our friends here, Ace with TimberSync, and just took a couple notes down from how they entered Awesome Inc.'s pipeline about a year ago and what we've been able to do with their organization. So we've been able to make different intros to local and regional investors. They are a part of the fellowship, and that led them to meeting some lawyers and some other free developments for their business and their software scaling. They have an office set up with discounted rent as part of the fellowship. We've given them access to mentors, videographers for their client work and promoting what they do. And then probably what I'm most excited about is helping them both get funding and then connecting them with one of our Kentucky Entrepreneur Hall of Fame inductees. And
great, Garrett, if you can move just a little closer to your microphone.
Oh, sure. Was that too quiet?
That's better. Yes,
okay.
Thank you.
Well, let's do the headphones. Maybe these things are breaking. Is that better, Lisa? Okay, that's hilarious. Well, guys, time to get some new headphones. Okay, so the 10% guys, they've got a lot of benefit from Awesome Inc. between investors, different resources we've been able to give them access to, mentorship, growing here in their space. And then right now, and what I've been most proud of is helping them get their first round of funding accomplished, as well as introductions to some of the Kentucky Entrepreneur Hall of Fame inductees for them to get business prowess. So these guys are growing like weeds. They're having a great time. And it's fun to have an in-house company that we're getting to work with so closely and then watch them scale from the front row. So we'll go on the next slide. For metrics, a couple of things I wanted to update is Startup Connections is always one I'll address. We had our summer retreat event, which I will talk about in the next slide. But that's a really cool opportunity where we had 28 unique companies all mingling all week long. And so the Awesome Inc. team that I'm speaking on behalf of, we just get to feel like people, we build the sandbox and let everyone run in there, and we just make sure everyone's having a good time. And so it's a really special weekend, and I'll touch upon some more details then. The next one, even though the number is 4, what we do at Awesome Inc. is we always do an annual update on investment, jobs created at the end of Q4. So I'll be doing that here in about 2 months. But one thing in particular is for one of the companies that we've worked with locally, in the last year we've worked with them, they've gone from 3 full-time employees to 12 full-time employees. And of the 4 number, 3 of those jobs are their company, and that is the company Quick Flips, here based in Lexington, and they're wrapping up their time in the fellowship. And then the last metric I'll address is investment raise. Really grateful, and I know some other organizations on here have had different funds come their way to support entrepreneurs, and so we have one partnering with the fellowship that's called the Traction Program. And so each of the companies going through our fellowship, they get installments of $25,000 just for some early on runway. And that's been a really great way to legitimize our program and add some more strength and resources to it. So the next slide, please. Awesome. So here's some retreat that I just addressed. You get to see a bunch of people from all across Kentucky and outside of the state that have ties to Kentucky spend a weekend together. And so I just said this, but again, I'll reiterate that we had 28 unique startups present. We had our second annual Mentor 101 speed dating where for about an hour and a half, we had a bunch of mentors, investors, talk with early stage entrepreneurs, and that is just a blast because that's one of the reasons we do these events. And then we had 3 unique mentor sessions. Steve Huey, everyone loves Steve, funny guy. He gave a great talk on work and AI and how to not get outworked by a non-human essentially. And then we had an acquisitions panel. That's the bottom left portion. And then our keynote speaker was our dear friend Kirsten Moorfield with Cloverleaf, and it was such a touching event, and everyone really appreciated her keynote. And then the last slide, I'll wrap up here. Looking ahead, but also how we're connecting with hubs. Here are just a lot of events and ways that all of the hubs represented help feed companies into our pipeline, whether it's through Five Across, our venture capital fund, different events that we're doing today and or tomorrow. And I know that good friend Dave Knox has been really helpful with the opening and relaunching of Spark House, giving us personal invites. And when we've been there, introducing us to companies to make sure that we can get some new introductions for our events. So grateful to everyone on this call. If you have any questions, reach out to me. I'm in the chat. And Lisa, it's all you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Garrett. And I will see you tomorrow for the fellowship demo day. So looking forward to that in Lexington. All right. We are still within the center part of our state and looking at Louisville and the Elizabethtown region. We have Jen Callahan, who is Chief Vision Officer with Amplify, and they represent 12 counties. Hi, Jen.
Hey, Lisa. Thank you so much. And thanks to anyone that's tuning in. First up, we want to highlight a great founder story, MEVPAC. This is a patent pending, very cool concept. You can kind of see some of the visuals there on the screen. It's a fast charging solution for electric vehicles, and the stations are mobile. So think big events like the Kentucky Derby as an example. They can drop in the charging station and have additional charging options for all of the electric vehicle owners. MEVPAC is early stage, and when they joined Amplify, they were looking for prototype funding, partnerships, and visibility. And I'm thrilled to say we were able to make all 3 of those things happen. We connected them with developers, researchers, community leaders. Larry and Ben Reno Weber were able to join them for the ribbon cutting, which was live on the news, and just a great story because it really shows how Amplify can have all these different touch points and help the founders make their ideas a reality. And next, looking at our metrics from this quarter, we supported 285 startups. This was well above our goal. Clear sign that the founders are continuing to come to Amplify for their guidance and connectivity. Some of this credit definitely goes to our partnership with the Vote Awards. The team was really able to dig in with founders and track the data related to the progress. Our EIRs are actively engaging with founders and increasing their pipelines, so that those numbers are certainly attributed to the startups that we're continuing to grow and serve and refer. And next, one of the ways we keep all of our momentum going is through our events. The Amplify Sales Week was one of the biggest highlights of the quarter. Over 4 days, we had 100 founders and business leaders coming together, learning, connecting, figuring out what's working, and what it takes to really sell and scale and grow their businesses. Big shout out to our community director of community, Cynthia Lee. She organized and hosted the whole thing, and her experience and her energy really made the week such a success. And lastly, but not least at all, we are really excited about some of the collaborations that are happening with the other hub partners. Blue North, we've been working together with through ETA, entrepreneurship through acquisition. Larry and Dave, I know, have been connecting a lot and joining forces on some policy efforts to strengthen that type of support for startups. In fact, Dave was co-hosting an event yesterday in the Louisville area, bringing a great group of folks together. So we're really excited about some of the progress happening there. At Awesome Inc., we are focused on making sure our founders know about programs like the fellowship, Five Across, Summer Retreat. We continue to make sure that they're connected in the Awesome Inc. area as well. And at SOAR, one of the highlights there, we are leveraging, some of the investment readiness progress, the platform of Abaca that builds startup infrastructure and consistency and data collection. And looking ahead, we want to do some fun stuff, such as hosting venture connectors at potentially Spark House or a Five Across pitch night in Louisville. There's also some early talks about a statewide startup conference that could potentially be in Louisville. So that would bring everyone together. Lots of good stuff, more on the way, and we encourage everyone to follow along and stay connected. Reach out if you want to get involved in any way. Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks so much, Jen. A lot of excitement, some great collaboration across our entire hub network, of course, benefiting all of our startup founders. So thank you for sharing that update. And then finally, in our northern region, we have Dave Knox, who is Executive Director with Blue North and representing 17 counties there. Hi, Dave.
Hey, Lisa. So we're experimenting with one of our new conference rooms here at Spark House and seeing how the AI cameras work, which is hit or miss.
We see you. We've been seeing you in and out, but hello.
So we'll see if it keeps zooming or not on us. But so kick us off. One of our success stories is Another Nine. So Another Nine is one of those great examples of the longevity that comes in with the startup ecosystem. So I met Ethan probably over a decade ago now when he was engaged with Startup Cincy, the overall ecosystem there. Then he went into doing some stuff in the corporate world. And as we were starting up Spark House, he decided to give us a chance and come join us over here in Northern Kentucky. He was one of our inaugural Brink companies as well. So participate in that program and is off to an amazing start. Also is one of our not just a tenant here at Spark House, but will be helping power our soon-to-open golf simulator here in the building as well. So with that, let Ethan tell a little bit more about the company and what they're up to.
Thank you, David. It's great to be connected with all of you. I hope that we can live up to the title of success story at this stage. I promise we'll keep going, but we've been super grateful for the support of the Brink program and Blue North and our friends at Key Horse. And of course, to be headquartered here at Spark House, it's been a great change for us and the team and a phenomenal place to host our prospective franchisees. We are a 24/7 fully self-service indoor golf simulator facility that doesn't require any staff, and our tech powers a 24/7 operation. We started here just north of Spark House in Cincinnati with our first location. And when we set out to fundraise earlier this year, our goal was get us some capital that will help us expand to 25 locations in the next 24 months. I'm proud to say that we are on pace in Q4 to surpass 40 sold or in development, which is significantly faster than we originally hoped. So we've got a ton of momentum right now. Our team now has 5 people, and we'll likely add a couple more to that in the next 2 to 3 months. And we're really just focusing on delivering for those franchisees that we've already brought on, as well as bringing new people into the network. So we're thrilled with the progress so far, but certainly we're still on the first tee, and we're excited to keep going.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you, sir. So super excited for that one, and we'll have all the ecosystem for a round of golf here soon. So it should be good. So moving into the metrics. So been really pleased with everything kind of going off across the board. Start off with the startup investment. Obviously, that is the lifeblood of all entrepreneurship that goes through. So we're about a third of the way through to our goal. That was one we were a little concerned. Things were starting off a little slow this summer, and then things got lumpy in a good way. So we had some significant rounds closed that Lisa called out there in the beginning. And then, the other thing call out is the events hosted. That is way ahead of our goal, but that's part of us opening this building. I think one of the things that's been most exciting is really making this a place where Blue North can co-host what the community is doing together and really bring those unique programs together. Especially in a remote world, we found that to be a challenge. But as the people are here together, that really drives a super, super interesting thing across the board for us. And we think that number is going to be far exceeded because of that. So that's that one from the metrics. And speaking of all that, the grand opening far exceeded expectations. So we had over 300 attendees that joined us for our opening event to kick off everything for the building. Since opening our doors, we've hosted a wide range of events across the board, everything from our Chamber of Commerce to economic development sessions. Next week, we've got the turf meeting that's going to be taking place for the Central Region with the cabinet that will be at Spark House, a whole wide variety. And including last Friday was probably one of the most exciting, and we'll talk this at the next quarterly. But we had everything from the Collegiate Entrepreneur Summit with 80 college students there, to Thermo Fisher holding a leadership team offsite, to Niche Fire having their board meeting, just full of energy. So the grand opening kicked off what has been a pretty amazing last month across the board. An open invitation for anyone that wants to make a visit up, join us. We'd love to have you in the coming weeks and months. So to the final slide. So on the collaboration, being the last one means that pretty much everything I was going to talk has been covered in some way, shape, or form. But very fittingly, was yesterday we did have the kickoff of Louisville ETA. So the entrepreneurship through acquisition has been something we put a really focus on here at Blue North over the last 2 years. The Cincy ETA group that resides under Blue North has actually now grown to almost 380 members. So that's been a really remarkable. And it's something that we see as a really strong expansion opportunity to open up regional city-based ETA groups. We are really the only ones that are doing it. Most of the ETA groups across the country are associated with universities. So this is a really interesting opportunity for us to lean into, the hubs being part of the Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation, and how can we think about that and really support it in different ways. So we're excited to see what takes place in Louisville, and hopefully this expands in to other cities as well across the hub network. So that's what I got.
Excellent. Thank you, Dave. Thank you so much, both of you. And we love seeing the new digs there in your conference room. We've had the wide view, the narrow view, the full view. That's been fun. I can't express enough the support for ETA, Entrepreneurship Through Acquisition, as another means and journey for potentially not necessarily founders, but perhaps business owners in terms of being able to go down that entrepreneurial path and knowing that there are resources available through our innovation hubs in that particular opportunity to grow some really great companies. And so we are continuing to support that as a very alternative and innovative pathway to entrepreneurship. So we celebrate the launch of the Louisville ETA and, of course, your support in that from Blue North. So thank you, Dave. All right. With that, I just want to mention a couple of announcements. In the chat, you're going to see some information from our friends at the Small Business Administration, the SBA. There is, of course, 2025 has been a very challenging year in terms of natural disasters and storms. Businesses, nonprofits in various areas have had quite an impact. And there's a number of resources and additional information if you've got any companies in your particular region that could benefit from those resources. So please share those. They're in the chat. And we will make sure to send those out also with our follow-up to this particular webinar. Our next Startup Resources series is planned for Tuesday, November 18th. It is virtual, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. And we will have another quarterly Innovation Hub update. That is planned for Wednesday, January 28th. We'll be halfway through our fiscal year at that point, and again, virtual, 10 a.m. Eastern. So you can mark your calendars for both of those dates. With that, I hope you all are having a great day, the great rest of your week. I know it's kind of gloomy, rainy, but I know you'll make it the best. And thank you for all that you do for our founders in the region and across the state. And I hope and wish you all a great day. Thanks, everyone.